Welcome to the Marriage Be Like podcast. We're your hosts, Kenny
and Kenya.
And we are so glad that you are joining us today. Listen, this podcast is here to discuss love and relationships, life topics, and how to navigate through it all.
Disclaimer, we are not specialists or counselors or professionals in these fields. We are a married couple who's got 27 years of life experiences under our belt. We hope to open some discussions, build communication, and plant some seeds. So sit back, enjoy, and let's have a conversation and grow together. Welcome back to another episode of Marriage Be Like podcast.
Yes.
If you are new and you're joining us for the first time, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Yes. And if you are a listening person who comes every week, we appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
Thank y'all for listening. We hope that y'all have had a good week so far. And look, while we're at it, go ahead and share.
Yes.
Tell your people.
Friends
send them
and
out
family.
text. Tell them that we are on Envision Radio right now.
Envision-radio.com.
Tell them to tune in. And then if they can't or if they miss some of it, tell them they can tune in tomorrow wherever they listen to podcasts.
Wherever you listen to podcasts. Or you can just go to the website at marriagebelike.com. Why do we do that?
I'm not sure. We did it the one time and it just kind of stuck. Because we silly. That's why we do.
I guess so.
That's the reason, because we're silly.
Shout out to the Envision Radio team.
Yes.
Notice I didn't say Dash Radio team.
There you go. This is true.
Shout out
putting up with us.
Yes. Oh, man. Putting up with Kenya.
What?
Yeah. I said that. You are a lot to put up with.
Oh my goodness, that is so not true.
Yeah. See, this is why we have to have these episodes of conflict resolution.
Oh, is that right? First off, I'm gonna need you not to talk about me during Women's History Month, sir.
Oh, okay.
Hold your tongue till April.
Are we out of this yet?
No, we are not. This is a long month. Deal with it.
I guess I'll have to deal with it. Okay.
Look, while we're talking about Women's History Month, it is March and we celebrate women and history, women's history this month. Okay. So fact, this time I'm going to do a little bit of a change.
Okay.
So we talked about mostly Black women.
Okay.
But this time I'm talking about Gloria Estefan.
Okay.
All right. So
she's brown, ain't it?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So Gloria Estefan is a Cuban-American singer, songwriter, author, actress, and philanthropist.
All right.
She's an 8-time Grammy Award winner. She's received the Presidential Medal of Freedom and has been named one of the top 100 greatest artists of all time.
Of all time?
Yes.
Okay, then.
She's the lead singer of, do you remember Miami Sound Machine?
I do.
I used to love their music. Selling more than 100 million records and landing 38 number one Billboard hits.
Whoa, 38.
She's also the first Hispanic woman to enter the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow. I
knew some of that. I didn't know all of that. When I Googled, I was like, whoa.
I don't think I knew much of that at all, actually.
Yeah, I was pretty proud, and this is why I'm happy we do Women's History Month, because it gives people an opportunity to look up these kinds of things.
Yeah.
You wouldn't in April, just, because.
Right.
But I think that the research in general for people to do really helps out. Outside of just celebrating women.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I've learned a lot with the research that you have been sharing.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm loving these facts. I really am.
I'm getting a little bit of education.
Mm-hmm. We'll find something on me at some point.
Wow.
We celebrate y'all all the time. Y'all kind of rule the world in a sense. So...
Yeah. Well, we
not without us. We just in the background. Y'all just the face of so many things.
Y'all heard it here first.
Look,
men rule the world.
It's not a good thing.
What is not a good thing?
I didn't say that in a good way.
It's not a good thing. What?
Y'all are the face. Men, and particularly white men, are the face of so many things in this world. Presidents and world leaders and so on and so forth. Okay. We're the ones that hold it down.
Sounds like
we just don't get the credit. Go on, wait. We just don't get the credit.
Listen to what I was just about to say. See, before you correct me and shut me down, it sounds like another episode brewing.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, there it is.
Yes. So
on the next Marriage Be Like.
Right, at some point. Yes. So I love, once I read that information on Gloria Estefan, I loved the history that she has done in her life.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that she was an actress. That was actually new. I didn't know that. It's
Did you know?
awesome.
Did you know that I am an actor?
Yes. But we're not talking about you. Your name ain't Gloria Estefan.
It's not. You're right.
All right. Okay. So let's
My
do
name
some
is
review.
Kenny Green.
Yes.
So, there.
Let's do some review. What did we talk about last week, babe?
So we have been diving into conflict resolution, right?
Yes.
I mean, a couple of weeks ago, we started off talking about how to argue with your wife, or sorry, I said wife, spouse.
I went ahead and went with it.
Yeah, how to argue with your spouse, and so, but now we're delving a little deeper into that, right?
Yeah.
We gave some do's and don'ts. Did I say that right? It felt
the
like
second time you did.
do's and don'ts. We gave some do's and don'ts of arguing. All right. And so here are a couple of examples, right? First, don't bring up the past.
Right.
Yeah. Like,
you argue about what you're arguing about. Nope. You passionately discuss.
We're discussing
what you're discussing currently in this moment in time.
That's
the past
right.
does not matter.
That's right. The past. And people, you heard this, right? The past does not matter.
Come from the person who always talked about the past.
Brings up the past.
No, not brings. I try not to. Not no more. So you currently discuss what the topic is this time.
Here's another don't. Don't yell.
Yes, don't yell at your spouse.
Don't yell. You want to have nice, calm discussion.
Yes, that is correct.
That's it, right? Another one, please don't have dismissive behavior.
No dismissive behavior in any form.
That's right.
To your spouse.
That's right. I may have been guilty of that. So
me too from time to time.
I'm speaking to myself. So anyway, so what was our, we gave the definition.
Yes, we gave the definition. We didn't like it, which is why we talked about changing it to discussions.
And what we didn't like, people, and understand what we did not like was that
it was harsh.
It was harsh.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
what was definition? And y'all can look it up because we discussed it a bit ago, but yes.
Angry and hostile and yelling, and it doesn't need to be all that.
So yeah, we decided to give it a better name.
Yeah. Discussion.
No arguing.
No arguing.
Yes. We are passionately discussing.
Yeah. So how do we have a passionate discussion?
All right. So a few examples include choose your words carefully. So think about it before you actually say it.
Yeah. Use that filter.
Even in a hint of heat.
Yes.
In the moment, still try.
You have been given a filter between your brain and your tongue.
Yes.
Right. I don't know where it is exactly.
I don't know, but allow it to flow so that you can work out the good words that you want to come out.
Use it.
Also, be honest.
Be honest.
If you're lying, that's not going to work because it doesn't help you in the process of the resolution.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing. If you're lying, if you're not honest with the individual.
If you're in denial, that goes the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And you may be lying to yourself too. You know what I'm saying? That's part of being in denial. So yeah.
Acknowledge your person's feelings.
Yeah.
So, we talked about a moment ago, don't be dismissive.
Yes.
So make sure you acknowledge your spouse's feelings. How they feel about it matters and it is valid.
It is valid. Yep. Wow.
Yes.
That's a deep one right there. That really is. So then last week, all right, was conflict resolution part uno.
Yes, part uno.
Part uno. All right. And we spent a little bit of time talking or giving our testimony, right? How we grew as a couple in our ability to communicate, right? Learning the skills that we needed to communicate and how to resolve our conflicts.
Right.
Right. So what did we share this time, right? We discussed how we both had to just grow up together.
Yeah, we did. We had to grow up.
I mean, because we came into this thing not knowing one thing.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So we had to learn together. What else did we do, babe?
Well, in areas that we were alike, we realized we conflict in those areas.
That's interesting, right? How do you find conflict when you are alike?
Yeah, I don't know, but it happens all the time.
Yeah.
It does. When people are like that, what you like about yourself you may not like in someone else.
Ooh. And and that's the thing, right?
You don't want to take what you give out.
Right. We say
Zero
opposites.
variations.
We say opposites attract,
Mm-hmm.
but then when you're alike, what happens then?
No, there's conflict.
I mean, a magnet, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
The polarity in a magnet, the opposite polarity, they draw to each other, but
Yes.
the same polarity anyway pushes
And then,
away.
of course, communication is key.
Communicate.
Yes.
Are you communicating
We have
with
to
me?
grow into our communication skills.
Yeah, I'm still working on that.
Yes.
So,
but it's okay.
It's okay. I'm growing.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah. I'm becoming grown. Yeah.
It's a whole lot better than fighting against it.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Because guess what? Change is going to happen.
Yes.
Right? Change is going to happen. And if you
because
don't
life goes on.
If you don't allow positive change, then guess what will happen? Negative change.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's gonna change in a manner that you don't want.
And your resistance also affects your spouse, your family.
Resistance is futile.
Yes, you may as well just suck it up, buttercup, and come on.
That's it. That's it. Be a big person about it.
Yes. All right, so you ready to do the segment, babe?
Segment. Yeah. Let's get to it.
This segment is what I love about you.
You like how I did that? I came in
Say it together.
Yeah. What I love about you. Yeah. So let's remind everybody, if this is your first time checking out these segments, right? This is giving us an opportunity to share with each other what we love about each other. And we do this, every other episode.
Right.
Yeah. And we got to do something different every time. So now you got to dig in a little deeper to try to find new ways to express your love to your spouse. So, babe.
Yes.
What do you love about me?
What I love about you is that you keep me laughing.
Yeah.
It helps.
Yeah.
First off, I love to laugh.
You
Comedy
do.
is one of my.
You do.
Not because I'm just really comical. It's just something I enjoy.
Right.
I love to laugh. I love to watch comedies. I like to be silly and that kind of thing. So then your silliness just helps me out. It also, laughter is medicine to the soul. You know what I mean? So it really helps in general. Yeah.
I'll be here all week, y'all.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. So no, I appreciate that. And I'm gonna tell you what, it is really affirming to me.
Attracted me to you.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway.
No, not your looks. You're handsome, but your silliness is what caught me, actually.
Or my beard, or I didn't have a beard.
You didn't have a beard then.
Anyway, that goes back to the affirmation, the love languages.
True.
But no, I'm gonna tell you what. So I like that, and this is not my answer to what I love about you, but I'm responding to what you're saying there, gotcha. Right? I really love that you laugh at me or at my jokes. I do.
Cool.
Yeah. So. But I'm saying something else. Actually, you're getting 2 for 1 in this one. So,
all right. I'll take 2 for 1. Yeah, sure will.
That's good. I love that you laugh at what I do. Anyway, no, so my turn, right? Mm-hmm. What I love about you. What I love about you is that, and I want to say this right without making it sound weird. No. When I say that is because what I love about you is that we can see so many things the same way.
Okay.
And that might not, when 2 people come together in a marriage, right, there are so many decisions that need to be made, so many conversations that you have about parenting. If you go to church, what church do you go to? What type of house you live, what type of car you drive, how many kids you want to have. And those conversations that we had were really easy.
Oh, true. Yeah, true.
We can talk about what attracts us to each other. Generally speaking, a male and female come together and they're attracted by their looks or whatever. You said that you like the fact that I made you laugh. But then when you really get down to the nitty gritty of
serious topics, such
yes, then what does that look like, and how do we handle that? And so I felt like, in having those conversations, I found the right one, right?
Yes.
Because we are moving in the same direction.
True. Yeah, and those topics we hardly ever disagreed.
Yeah.
Maybe some things in parenting.
Yeah, there were a couple things in parenting, but that's
just parenting.
That is.
You're not going to agree on exactly.
That's another
everything.
episode.
Yeah.
But definitely. Yeah. So that's what I love about you, that we're lockstep going in the same direction, and that makes life easier for us.
I agree. I think it does. I did know that. I guess I don't think about it though, if that makes any sense. But yes, I did know that. Oftentimes you may bring up a topic or I may bring up a topic and then when, I agree. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's the end of the discussion. We only have to talk about the details of it all.
Right. And sometimes there are times when I have a bit of anxiety when it comes down to certain topics because
you don't know how
I don't know how you're going to feel. And then when we get there and I'm like, well, I was thinking, if it's okay with you, remember Nutty Professor, if you're going anyway, then, how about we...
Get to the point. What is it you're trying to say?
Right. And then when we get there, you were thinking the same, oh yeah, no, you're right. I think that's a great idea. And it's like, oh.
All that for nothing.
Yeah. So,
and vice versa. I mean, I don't generally have anxiety about it, but I just be like, do I mention it today? I don't know.
Yeah. So, but I can imagine, or I can't imagine how difficult it would be to have that level of anxiety and then get there and then be right about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What I mean by right, but
right as in I should have felt anxiety about the topic. Yeah. We really haven't had much of that, especially not in later years.
Yeah.
I think the beginning, it was just learning each other.
Yeah.
Being married.
Yeah.
So
now
things happen, but then there were oftentimes we were still like, yeah. We didn't even.
We were still trying to figure things out, right? So, but I mean, now I want to say this to kind of segue back into our topic, right? Because that does not mean that we did not have conflict.
Absolutely.
Right. Because, two people coming together, we've said this before, two people coming together think differently. So then there's always going to be some sort of conflict. To say that we found ourselves walking in the same direction, kind of, I want to say, I don't want to say mischaracterizes, but I don't want to lead anyone to thinking that we did not face conflict.
No, we absolutely did face conflict, but we did walk on the same street.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
So it's all right.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. So let's get back on
cool.
it. Yeah,
Make sure that you talk to your spouse, talk to your partner, and discuss what you love about them.
Yeah.
Take some time to get to know each other and say something different every time.
That's what I was going to say. It's just something different every time, and put some thought into that.
Yeah.
Put some thought into it. This is why we do it every other week, because now, we've got to. It was easy the first one, right?
Right.
I love your smile. Oh, that's cute. No, now we got to really dig
in
and find ways that oftentimes even more meaningful.
Yeah.
So, that's something that we really encourage you to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, there we go.
Communication going.
Yeah.
All right. So today's topic, we're discussing conflict resolution.
Part 2.
Yes.
Part 2. I said it in Spanish. No, I didn't say the same language.
Oh, what's do?
Do is French. The first time I said it in Spanish.
You sure did. Look at you,
See,
babe.
Multilingual. Multibilingual.
Oh, no.
See, babe, you didn't realize that you were married to somebody that spoke multiple languages.
He can count in a couple of people. That's about it.
I'm fluent in one.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, babe.
All right. So we've done a quick review, right? We did a quick review, and now we're going to give you some tips and tricks for resolving conflict.
Yes.
Can we call that conflict hacks?
Maybe. Yeah.
Tips and tricks. We call it conflict
it's
hacks.
our podcast. We can go if we want to.
Conflict hacks. Okay. So for the first, we're going to call them hacks. Okay.
All right. Okay. But babe, before we give the hacks, let's talk about one of our topics. So, Mike Jackson and Egypt Sherrod.
Okay. All right.
So interestingly enough, this couple They've been married 15 years, more than 15 years. And this week in US Weekly, their article came out.
Okay.
And they discussed a change that they made in their marriage,
Right.
probably based on conflict.
Okay. But now, hold on. Let's back up because you said Mike Jackson and Egypt
Sherrod.
Sherrod. Now, who are they first?
Oh, sorry. Mike Jackson and Egypt Sherrod. They are HGTV host of Married to Real Estate.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right. So they had an article come out this week in US Weekly discussing how they've made changes in their marriage. And one of those changes that they talked about was that they now sleep in separate rooms.
I mean,
So he has his bedroom and she has her bedroom.
wait, are they, I mean, are they separated? Is it?
They're not separated. They're married. They've been married over 15 years.
Okay.
They've got several children. They just sleep in separate rooms.
Why?
And then, you know, when they come together for the pink,
okay.
they come together. But
this
on a
is
regular, on a nightly, they sleep in separate rooms.
Wait, this is a little strange to me. So you help me understand this one.
I found it to be strange as well. But their point was it actually helps their marriage, which is why they're talking about it.
Okay.
So I don't know that I could do it. I'll say their words were they rediscovered the power of our personal space.
Okay.
So they're a married couple, they have children,
right,
and they also work together. They're also in front of the TV. They're on TV, so they're in the limelight.
Yeah. Okay.
And so rediscovering their personal space took them to this point. But they are still married. Everything's happy. They said that it has helped their marriage.
Okay. You know what this reminds me of? I remember I can't remember what show it was, but one of them old TV shows. I remember growing up, and on TV they wouldn't show a married couple sleeping in the same bed together. They would be in the same room, but they would be in a separate bed. So what you're saying is they are sleeping in separate rooms,
separate bedrooms, correct?
Separate bedrooms.
That's how they describe it. So they sleep in a separate situation was the words that they used.
Okay.
But they described how they can go to sleep when they want to.
Okay.
One is a night owl and one is not.
Oh, okay.
They talked about one likes to have scents and smells when they go to sleep.
Okay.
The one has to have a fan. They didn't say who needed what, but one has to have a fan. One has to have sounds.
Okay.
So, they get to play the TV whenever they want to, because there's no shared TV. They each have their own.
Their own.
Yes. I said since one likes candles. One likes to do like mind and body rituals.
Okay.
That kind of thing. So it's different because they're separate. But their point was now there's no complaining.
I don't know. I don't know. We just did that. What I love about you, and one of the things you're going to get a third one is what I love about you is the battles that we face, what we fight in the bed. You know what I'm saying? Like
fighting over the
cover, fighting over pillows, and you make too much noise. I can't sleep because you making too much noise.
But that hasn't taken us to
moving out to another room.
Right? Correct.
No, I don't know that I can do that. Again, like I said, those battles, and we make light of them, and they are light in my opinion. So that's just. I mean, because a part of me feels like even if we were to do a self-inventory, an inventory of ourselves, there are things about ourselves that we may not be the happiest with.
Yeah.
And if we're not willing to change them, then we live with them.
Correct.
So then if my spouse snores too loud through the night and I can't sleep, well, that's who I chose.
Yeah. And sometimes that changes. You didn't have that situation when you first married, but later on it changes or what have you. Women go through the change.
You're not
Men
putting
go through
me
y'all's own change.
out of my bedroom.
I feel the same.
That's just.
Besides, I like my heated blanket. So I'll give you some information that US Weekly talked about.
Okay.
Because with them saying that in this article, according to a survey in 2023, American Academy of Sleep Medicine. 35% of American couples sleep in separate bedrooms occasionally or consistently.
That's more than 1/3.
That's a large number. I was quite shocked at that, actually. For millennial couples, the number is even higher at 43%.
That's almost half. All right. So I can see where, maybe through the night we're working on something. You working in one room, I'm working in another, and I may fall asleep and then wake up, 2, 3, 4 hours later.
Yeah.
But that wasn't intentional.
No, it's not intentional. And it's not going to be that long as I'm come get you.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll come get me. You're right.
Yes. I'll let you get a little nap. And it's like, okay, come on, come to bed.
Yeah. That's not the answer for me.
No, I don't think it's for me either. But, this particular situation, they saying that it makes their marriage a happy marriage.
Okay. I mean, it sounds like what they've done is just
resolve their conflict. That's what it sounds like.
Is it a resolution or is it just a removal of, what I'm saying? Like,
well, they said they're saying it makes their marriage happy.
Yeah, but that doesn't.
It's a compromise somehow. They both said yes to it.
I don't like it.
It's not for me either. But it is for 35% of Americans and 43% of millennials.
Something about it to me just sounds wrong.
It's very interesting. I thought that would be a great point to discuss. So, look, if you all think differently or if you want to email us, feel free. We can discuss it. We can talk about it.
Kenny and Kenya at marriagebelike.com.
And then maybe we'll even get some shout outs if you email us and ask some questions or talk about it and say, hey, well, this is what we did and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, we'll tell them how crazy you do your things. No, I'm just teasing.
No, we won't. Yeah. So look, now we're going to go right into our hacks.
Our hacks. Okay.
Yes.
Now we can do our hacks.
We're gonna do our tips, tricks, and hacks for resolving conflict.
Okay. So the first one, my drum roll. I have a terrible drum roll.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I can't play drums. Anyway. All right. So the first one. What's the first one, babe?
All right. 3-day rule.
3-day rule.
And we actually mentioned this one a couple episodes ago.
Yeah. So make sure we take 3 days after a heavy discussion before making any decisions.
Yeah.
I think that gives us time to really kind of
think about it,
parse through, how we feel about it.
Yeah.
What are the benefits, pros and cons, and because sometimes we make quick, rash decisions.
Yes.
And if it means
emotion and anger.
Yeah. And if it means that much to you that it stirred up feelings, then it needs to be the right decision.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Yes, it does.
That's how I see that. So anyway, all right, next.
All right, schedule a time to talk.
Oh, the dreaded. We need to talk.
You look. It is what it is. It needs to be resolved. It needs to be fixed. We need to come up with a solution. So giving undivided attention to each other.
Okay.
Not one giving it. The both of y'all need to give it.
Okay.
Have calm music playing in the background if need be.
Yeah. It's a good song to play. It's a good song to play.
What?
We fall down.
I don't know. I don't know if that would be one. You know why? Because I'd be like, you the sinner, I'm the saint.
Wow.
I would flip that bad boy right around.
Wow. Anyway, I don't even know why I thought that was a good.
I don't know why you did either.
But anyway.
Yeah. So far, 3-day rule.
Yes.
And then the second one is schedule a time to talk.
And so you can play music in the background.
Yes. You want to be able to keep things calm and don't have the heated discussions if you can.
That's right.
If you can avoid it.
All right, for the next one, we want to make sure that we pray about it before we talk about it. All right.
Yes.
You like how I did that, right? Pray about it before we talk about it, because we want to make sure that God gives us the words to speak to each other.
That's correct.
And then God gives us the guidance.
Yes.
So we can make the right decisions.
Correct.
Yeah.
Whether large or small.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, in a marriage, there's so many large decisions, so many major decisions to make.
Yeah.
And so, you want that guidance. You don't want to just be, taking out the side of your neck, and then
That's
we all
right.
got to deal with it.
And here's the other thing, to add to that, we have to be careful because our value, the value that we place on these decisions, could be different.
Yes.
What may be
true.
large to you may not be large
Small
to
to
me.
the other. Yeah, that's true.
So we have to, and this is why what we say earlier, make sure that we are affirming or acknowledging the other person's
That's
feelings.
correct.
Because if we don't, then we don't have an appreciation for the value that the other person is putting into that decision, which you think is small.
Yes. Yeah. When we were at our most recent couples retreat,
Yes.
we talked about that a little bit and talked about having frustrating discussions.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a wall right there between you and you just feel like you're blocked.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give my shout out now.
Okay.
Shout out to Choya and Chantel.
Yeah.
For helping bringing the New Life couples.
Yes.
And bringing us back to grounded spaces.
Yeah.
That was a big topic in the women's area.
Okay.
And I know I was one that raised my hand, even though I knew the answer, but we were in the midst of a conflict. Remember that weekend?
No, I remember the weekend. I don't remember the conflict, though.
I don't remember the conflict at this point either, but we were just in the midst of a good discussion.
There was something
we had not resolved for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And so we went right on into that couples retreat, not happy with each other completely. It was just like, okay, we just won't talk about it till later kind of a situation.
We gave it to 3 days.
And so I raised my hand. I was like, so what if, and Chantel looked me dead in my eye and said, pray about it. I was like, that was not what I was looking for, but I knew that was the answer, and I was like, yeah, you're right. I didn't do that part. I didn't do that part. So I felt checked, but it was a good check, and so being able to do that helped out. And so I have to get that shout out because I needed that moment.
Thank you, Choya and Chantel.
Yes.
We get to see them again coming up soon.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, so look, here's one that I've heard in other situations, but it applies very prominently here for us, is aim to find a solution.
Yes.
Sometimes what we do is because we sit and talk about it for hours, right? And then we talk around it.
Yeah.
We start talking about the symptoms and not the problem.
How I felt about it.
Yeah.
What you did.
And then some of the results as some things that happen as a result. Let's stop talking about that. Let's figure out how we can keep this from happening again.
Correct.
Let's talk about that.
Let's figure out how we can actually learn the lesson.
Yeah.
And not be here again.
Yeah. Because if we can argue at how, it made me broke. We can argue about how it made me broke, but that doesn't help unless we talk about what you did.
Yes.
And spend all my money.
How we can prevent that from happening.
How we can prevent you from spending all my money.
Well, you could just say yes the next time. You won't have to worry about having the conversation.
Yes. I say no, so you won't spend my money. But anyway,
I can spend some.
Sorry, we are sprinkling in some discussion.
We can have a compromise, and we can go halfway.
Yeah.
So don't just talk about it for hours. Actually, look for a solution.
Yeah.
Go into discussion ready to work out the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, not just because you know what? Remember I said we want to be heard, right? And you're going to hear my point. But here's the thing, that doesn't solve anything.
It's just your point.
It's just your point, right? So let's come in with a mindset of resolution.
I do want you to hear my point, but I'm not going to say it over and over and over again. Just hear it and let's just solve it and let's keep it moving.
Because what I really want? What I really want is to not be here again.
I know that's right.
Right?
Yes.
And so
hard discussions are hard discussions.
Yeah. So I want that more than I want you to hear my point.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So there.
All right. Be sure to connect daily.
Every day.
Day.
Yep.
Allow touching and kissing daily.
That's right.
The 6-second kiss versus the quick peck. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of the 6-second kiss, but it's kind of becoming popular here lately. But Dr. John Gottman says it is long enough to make a moment of connection It also stops the busyness of the brain and allows focus on your spouse for that moment.
I get it.
So it's a bonding time.
You know what? When I leave the house,
Mm-hmm.
and I do this a lot of times,
Mm-hmm.
but not because I read it somewhere in a book.
I know. Mm-hmm.
Right? So I just instinctively do it.
It's true.
Right? And
I appreciate it.
yeah, because oftentimes I just get that little quick peck.
That's true. You go any longer, I'm like, don't start nothing.
Yeah.
You got to go. We trying to leave the house.
I ain't got time for all that. Not today. Not right now. Go back later.
Right. Yeah, so it's a 6-second kiss versus the quick peck. Do the longer kiss, all right? Make sure that you connect daily with kissing and touching.
See, I think that connection, just like we've been talking about, having that communication, being able to connect with each other, really gives us the the motivation to want to work things out.
Yes.
And breaks down the barriers that we normally set up as a result of conflict or in anticipation of the conflict.
Right.
And so that connection is key, I think.
Yes. I agree. All right, you ready to play a game?
Yes. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, about time again.
No countdown either.
Right.
Today's game is Who Does It Better?
Who does it better?
All right, cutting hair. Who does it better?
I do.
Yes, you do, babe.
I'm not even gonna let you. I'm not gonna let you do it because
it's not that I can't cut hair. I can definitely do hair.
Yeah, but
I can't cut hair.
I'm grateful because I don't pay nobody to cut my hair. And I mean, our sons, they had a living barber,
correct?
You got a living barber.
Yeah, and even for the years before you started cutting my hair, I used to cut it myself and do everything. I never really had to pay. I used to do it just for the pampering, but not.
I'm a stylist.
Have to pay.
I'm a stylist, y'all.
But you do cut hair very well, babe.
Well, thanks, babe.
So
I try. Yeah.
All right. So who sees better visually? Who has better vision?
I do.
No. I do.
No, listen, hold on. Because you've worn glasses much longer than I have.
Because I wasn't in denial. I knew when my eyes changed.
I was able to.
No, you were not. Nope. No.
Very well.
No, you had convinced yourself that you could see and could not.
I could see.
You needed glasses long before you actually
What did I mess up? What did I break as a result of not wearing glasses? Nothing. Okay, so there.
That's not the point.
The point
is you were squinting. You couldn't hardly read nothing properly. Everything's all up against your face. And then it was so bad the TV was loud. And I was like, I don't know which is worse, the ears or the eyes.
No, don't.
That's the truth. When you got your glasses, it was like all things flowed. And I was like, yes.
That is not right.
That is true.
You're telling me because I was in denial of my eyesight, so I couldn't hear? How in the world?
It seemed that way. I was just like, oh my God. So when you finally said, I think I need glasses, first off, you said it for a year before you still actually got them. But it took you a couple years to actually say it. I had been saying, baby, you might need to get some glasses. And then I changed my words. I think you should get some glasses.
I don't know. See, this game, who does it better, starting an argument.
When I knew I needed glasses, I actually went and got my eyes tested. And I went ahead and bought me some glasses. So that's why I've been wearing mine longer than you.
And you know what? I think the only reason why you brought this up is because I went and bought more glasses. I ordered some glasses, y'all, online, and I got
so many pair around the house.
Yeah, I had to coordinate my wardrobe with my glasses. So anyway, I got a bunch of pair of glasses.
Yes. All right. Who plans for the future better? Who does it better?
Oh,
plans for the future.
You know what? Sometimes I'm gonna tell you this. When we go on trips and stuff, you plan that better, I guess. But you said for the future. So if we're talking about the future of the trip, then sure.
The future of the trip. All right. So the future in general.
I don't know.
What's going to happen next week? What's going to happen in 5 years?
Yeah, that's probably you.
Okay.
That's probably you.
Yeah.
Because I got too much to think about what's happening today.
That's generally what you think about. Future? What?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yes. I would say that's probably me. Yeah. No, yeah, I would say that's probably me.
Okay.
All right, there you go.
There you go.
So you can use this game, Who Does It Better?
Yeah, to find out a little bit more about yourselves and have fun with it, y'all.
Yeah.
You know, I won this one. I won most of the games.
No, I won this one.
How? I won cutting hair and I won see better.
No, you did not. I see better than you. My prescription is less than yours.
Whoa.
So true.
Ophthalmologist.
Whatever the eye doctor.
The eye doctor.
Yes.
You know, somebody said that to me the other day because I was like, I got my prescription from the ophthalmologist, the eye doctor. Yes.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah. So anyway.
Okay.
All right. So for the second time ever. Yes, for the second time ever. This is, you know what? Can I say this is one of my favorite parts of our...
Pastor Stokes Speaks. I even gave him a little title.
Okay, Pastor Stokes Speaks.
Yes,
okay.
That's his segment.
Okay, all right. Yeah. You know what? We're going to have to talk about the little things that you do.
Segments?
Your segments and how you... Because of the dun-dun-dun. And
I know, I'm just breaking it out in the middle of nowhere.
We didn't discuss that. That's the corniest thing ever. You know, so
it is, but I'm starting to like it. It doesn't matter that it's corny,
and I like it too, Kenny. So.
Thank you, Pastor Stokes.
Yes.
Anyway, so
even when I miss the mark, it doesn't.
Yeah, because you can never get it when it's time. You miss the cue every time.
I sure do.
So I don't know. I don't know.
It's such a shame.
I'm concerned about our topic for today. But if this is working.
Yeah. You know, if you could be a fly on the wall in the green household.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
So, you know, but
Jokes
we have fun.
Always rolling.
Yes. Even when they're heated discussions, is that what we call them now?
Yes. Yes.
Passionate discussions.
Passionate discussions, not arguing.
My heart is in it. My heart is in it. Yes.
That is correct.
Okay, look, we got off. We were supposed to be introducing Pastor Stokes. Welcome again to Pastor Stokes, the senior pastor of the New Life Seventh-day Adventist Worship Center in Huntsville, Alabama.
Huntsville, Alabama.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. You know, last time, right? Y'all remember last time I said Seventh-day Adventist Worship Center. Y'all thought I said it too fast. And so I slowed down this time so that you didn't miss it.
I'm listening to every word.
Yes. Kenny and I both thought you omitted all of that.
Yes. No, I try my best now.
Yes, sir.
Remember, this is podcast, Kenny, okay?
Yes, sir.
So, okay, so listen, we want to welcome back Pastor Stokes. We do really, really appreciate your willingness to be a part of this. You know, and you can once we're done, you can, you know, talk about us behind our back. It's okay.
Never. Y'all know y'all are some of my favorite people.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we love you too, Pastor Stokes.
Yes. All right, so Kenya, what do we bring him on for? What was he here for today?
We brought him on for conflict resolution.
Okay.
So that we don't argue, but we have passionate discussions.
Okay.
And so that we can actually solve the problems and conflicts. So he's going to give us a nice summary of what we've been discussing.
Okay. All right, so that means I need to be on my best behavior then.
Yes.
Amen. Whatever that takes, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Best behavior.
Yes.
So, Pastor, what do you have for us today?
You know, I will say this much about conflict. Many couples think that conflict, you're to avoid conflict. Some couples even feel as though if I have conflict, then my marriage is in trouble. You're going to have conflict because you all are two different people. And I'm quit saying you all, because I have conflict. As a pastor, I have conflict in my house. It's not how much conflict you have, it's how you handle the conflict that makes all the difference in the world.
Right.
And, you know, you can have conflict every morning. You know, if I'm a little slow getting out of bed, and my wife, and I'm gonna have some conflict after I make this because this is too close of an example. My wife likes to make the bed up in a particular way. If I'm taking my time about getting out of
is
bed,
my sister.
getting up out of bed, there's conflict. There's conflict, and so there's huffing and puffing. You know,
Yes.
there's all those things, and you realize I do need to get up. Just didn't feel like getting up at that moment. But so conflict happens, but it's how you all work through the conflict that makes all the difference in the world. Now, to avoid conflict can be detrimental, more detrimental than the amount of conflict, because as I say to couples, conflict does not just go away. It's like putting something on the shelf. You keep putting it on the shelf, you keep putting it on the shelf, and you load that shelf up to where it can no longer withstand the weight and it's going to break. Now, what could have kept that from breaking was me distributing those items in different areas and being careful about what I do and when I do it. And so that's the way it is with conflict. You cannot just pretend like there's nothing wrong, because eventually something is going to break.
Wow.
Good point.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like something that we have had to learn through.
Yes, that sounds like counseling moments.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we've actually had to learn through that. We discussed that a couple episodes ago, talking about holding things for a while, you know, choosing when to fight battles and holding them for 2 years.
Yeah.
No, never.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. I'm sorry. You stirred up something in my soul.
Instead of something, I got to say something too. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I have an issue with this making up the bed thing, man. Let me tell you something.
Sorry, he stirred up two things. That was one. I'll let you take the bed one.
Because I mean, Kenya has a way with this bed thing. You know, I mean, if I go to bed before she does, I have to get out the bed so she can make up the bed so she can get in the bed.
That's not true.
Listen, I'm
the covers do have to be right.
Yeah.
I am asleep. You know, why do I have to get up out the bed? I've been in bed for a while. I don't need to get up so that you can
cover on my side.
Yeah. And you have to have a manual in order to make the bed up.
Oh, yes.
I mean, the pillows have their
a certain way.
Yes,
5 or 6 pillows, and I mean, everything just has to be just right. And when I make the bed up, I'm just going to make the bed up, put the pillows where I think they need to be, and that's that.
And that's it.
Never works that way. Never works.
No, because I'm coming right behind you.
Yes, and that's
because Kenya said, "Do you have enough cover on your side?"
It has to be perfectly even on each side.
Pull that corner.
Yes.
You know, there's a wrinkle over there. I don't even see the wrinkle. Right?
So I'm asking,
the wrinkle was in the sheet.
what director or decorator is coming by the house that I don't know about?
Yeah, somebody's going to give us a grade on how the bed is made up. Man.
It must be right.
Yeah, well, you know what?
So we open but that's conflict.
Yeah.
But
is.
what does that say? That says that we are two different people.
Yes.
And so that means that because there are differences, there are going to be differences of opinion, differences in ways to do things, and we're not always going to see eye to eye, but it's how we work through those differences.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean.
Oh, I was supposed to say something else. Sorry. My other point outside of the bed was I was going to say that, Pastor Stokes, I'm giving you your props because you helped bring this out of me, the passive aggressive. Coming to counseling to Pastor Stokes, look, if you haven't and you live in the Huntsville area, please do.
Yeah.
It took me a long, long time. And once you said it, I was like, oh, is that my problem? But it made such a difference, not only in my personal life, my spiritual life, work life, my marriage, because I realized I shouldn't hold on to it for 2 to 5 years.
Now there was an adjustment
to be able to,
I had to adjust to that.
I'm sure.
Because now my wife is vocal.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Pastor Stokes.
Yeah.
Now she's saying things.
Where did that come from? Where's the old Kenya?
Yeah. When I used to
down and be
hold in my
quiet
head, I don't have to no more.
But Kenya's sleeping better at night.
Yes.
And the way she handles you is better.
Yeah.
Because she's not holding things in.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not explosive in the end.
Right.
Yeah, because that's that's the danger of passive aggressive
Right.
people. That thing gets on them, and when it finally comes out,
Yes.
they're going all the way back 10 years.
10 years.
10 years. There's a minimum 10 years in your spirit.
Yes.
And
yes.
and you try to figure out, where did that come from? When did that happen?
I didn't
I
even know
used to
you
have
did.
a year. I used to have a year down to remember when the son was 6 years old. Oh, I used to have it down.
Yeah. So I don't know, but no. And so then, yes, to Kenya's point, yeah, I appreciate that because, like you say, it does. I mean, again, it was an adjustment for me, but in the long run, I don't have to deal with the explosive nature of something being held back for such a long time, and then suddenly I do one thing and 5 things I'm accused of. You know what I mean?
Blood pressure up, I'm boiling.
Oh yeah. So we are. So I love that. So yeah. So I thank you.
Well,
You know,
praise God,
And
praise
it's
God.
better on my health because I didn't like the way I felt in that moment either.
Yeah.
So it was wonderful.
Because here's what you're really doing when you don't deal with what's inside of you. You're lying.
True.
You're lying to the person. You're lying to yourself. Lying to those around you. It's a form of hypocrisy. And marriages are based on honesty. Good marriages are based on honesty. And when you're withholding, we talk about withholding sexual things.
Right.
But when you withhold you and what you're feeling, that is another form of withholding from your spouse.
Can we say that that's like the worst form of?
Could very well be mentally, emotionally, because you're not okay, because you're holding on to this.
Yeah.
And every time the person does something that reminds you of what you've been holding on to, but you don't want to say anything, it just builds up a little more, little more.
Yeah. I mean, because if your marriage, here's the thing, okay? I married the person, right? Didn't necessarily marry the sex, right? So if you withhold the sex, guess what?
Yeah.
That's not what I married.
Right.
You know, I may want that.
Yeah.
That may be a problem.
Yeah.
But but that's not what I married. I married the individual.
Yeah.
And if you are withholding your emotions, your feelings, that's the person. And you withhold that, now I've got a big problem because that's who I married.
That's true. And it took growth though.
Sure.
I don't know if you remember my face. I remember looking at you like, what now? But it took growth because at first when you told me, I didn't believe it. And by the third session, I was like, okay, finally. All right. You know what? And plus the homework helped because then not only did I have to go through the sessions with him, but then the homework, which doubled it up.
Sure.
I was like, okay, I don't want to do this homework. But it worked out and it took that personal growth, even for me to believe that I was lying to myself all along.
And if you're lying to yourself, then you're lying to your spouse.
Yes.
Not only to your spouse, but to your children, to other people that are close to you. You're lying to them because even if I don't have anything against anybody else, if I've got something against my spouse, then it's going to spill over in how I handle my day to day.
Yeah. You know, and I want to point out something here. You mentioned this. No, you didn't mention this. We talked about it briefly on a previous episode. We're talking about our children not seeing conflict,
right?
You know, in the home, right? And you touched on it when you talked about when conflict comes doesn't mean that there's a problem, right? It doesn't mean that this marriage is doomed to fail.
Yes, correct.
Right. And I think this goes back to what we were talking about. If our children don't see certain levels of conflict in the home, then they believe that when conflict does arrive, that is detrimental. Like it's, you know, we are doomed to fail.
Right. They have to see the resolution.
Right. Now that's true. They have to see the resolution. They have to know that conflict will arise, but they also need to see the resolution. They need to see us handle that properly. And when I say properly, we ain't fist fighting and you know
not
what I'm
cussing
saying?
each other out.
Right.
You know, not storming out, slamming doors.
Yeah.
But
I've done that a time or two, but you know.
Amen.
I was about to say the cussing out. Who is he talking to me? Ooh, that was my past.
Go back, Kenya. Go back.
My past, Jesus. Yes.
Keeping it real. But our kids, they need to see that it can be worked through.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they need to know the difference between healthy conflict and unhealthy conflict.
Yes.
And sometimes because some families are conflict adverse. They try to, we're going to take this in the room.
In the room, yeah.
And there's some in the room moments.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
I
yet
agree.
there are some times that you need to say, Mom and Dad, we're having a discussion right now, but we're working through it.
Mhm.
They need to know that so that they know how to deal when conflict comes. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Gems.
Yes. Yes.
I hope y'all taking notes on this podcast. Gems, just dropping them.
Yes. 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 Well, look, I tell you what, it is always a joy.
Always.
I didn't know if you had another point to share. No. Okay. Good. No. No, I'm just teasing.
I'm following you all's lead, so and I probably need to follow Kenya's lead so that Kenya and I don't have any conflict.
No, this gonna cause an argument.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we really do enjoy it and greatly appreciate your willingness to be a part of this because, your voice adds credibility to what we're doing here.
Yes.
And we really appreciate that. And we pray that all those who hear, right, are touched by the things that are being discussed.
Yes.
Yeah. It's been a blessing. Your podcast has been a blessing to me, and so keep doing what you're doing, please.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Pastor.
If y'all could see my face.
No.
Yeah.
I was going to say, not only does his name bring credibility, but your background. We didn't even say anything about his background.
Yeah. So, okay, remind us now, you are...
I have a master's in counseling. When I first got in ministry, I was doing premarital counseling. I didn't know what I was doing. And I feel so bad for those couples. And there's a wealth of stuff out there for us to help us, but I always felt as though I could be doing more. So I decided rather than going and pursuing the normal pastoral ministry track, I would do something in counseling. So I sat through that master's program for counseling.
Okay.
And that's why I wanted to mention it, because so many don't have counseling background. And so I think that gives more credibility, so that sometimes people don't want to talk to a pastor.
Right.
Because of that, because they only go the pastoral track.
Right.
But to be able to have a counseling background and to also be able to know those skills to make sure that you can get past certain points makes a big difference.
And the other thing is, for me, I can say, you know what, I probably can't get them to the next point. And that therefore I can refer them to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Before, I felt as though all I needed to do was pray and give them a few texts, and we could pray and give them a few texts, pray and give them a few texts. And that has its place. But some people need therapy. Some people need to sit down with someone. Some people have some deep-seated things going on, and they need somebody that can help them mitigate those things and work through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you.
Yes.
I thank you guys for letting me be a part of this special time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. How could we not, Pastor Stokes?
Yeah.
We love you. We love you.
Yeah. So we just heard from Pastor Nelson B. Stokes.
Yes.
Right. Does that drive you crazy? I put the emphasis on the B.
Yeah. It's the strange part of me likes hearing you when you say that, Nelson B.
Stokes.
Yeah, it just makes me sound important.
So Pastor Nelson B. Stokes is the pastor of the New Life Seventh-day Adventist Worship Center here in Huntsville, Alabama. See, I slowed it down.
Yeah, look, I'm looking at your eyeball to eyeball.
Yeah. Listen, if you want to check us out, you can check us out at newlifehsv.org. All right. You can actually see our website there for the New Life Seventh-day Adventist Worship Center. Visit us on Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock Central Time.
Yes.
And you can actually check out the service and hear this powerful preacher, man of God.
Yes. Links are on the website.
Yeah.
Join us every week.
Yes. All right. So look, we want to thank you for joining us for another episode of
The Marriage Be Like podcast on Envision Radio.
Or wherever you get your podcast.
Yes, that is correct.
Yes. Make sure you visit us at marriagebelike.com.
Yes. And while you all are there, go ahead and listen back to other podcasts. Make sure again that you tell your friends and family that you found a great podcast.
The best podcast.
The best podcast, the best marriage podcast.
Yes.
And that you can catch us on envision-radio.com on Thursdays at 4 o'clock Eastern.
And 3 o'clock Central.
And 3 o'clock Central.
3 p.m. in the afternoon, y'all.
Afternoon. And then, of course, check out our website.
Yes.
And anywhere that you listen to podcasts.
Those will happen on Friday. Remember, envision-radio.com gets it on Thursday.
Correct.
So, and then everywhere else on Friday. So you want to hear it first before everybody else? Check us out on envision-radio.com. All right. Listen, thank you so much for listening to the Marriage Be Like podcast. We will catch you next week.
Bye-bye.